Call your sponsor. Call your sponsor. Call your sponsor. Call your sponsor. Call your sponsor.
And we're back to Bitch Call Your Sponsor. I'm Sam. Hi, Misty.
Hello, Sam.
Shall we start with our primary purpose?
Yeah. Our primary purpose is for Misty and Sam to grow their friendship and maybe help others.
Just maybe.
Maybe.
So there's two links that I think would be useful to include it with this episode. The topic that I thought of, which is something we've spoken about before, is emotional sobriety. And this came from a grapevine article that Bill W. wrote in January of 1958, where he talks, and this is one of the links that, we can share with the podcast, but it's basically that it's like, oh yeah, it's an inside job. I could still be childish, emotionally sensitive, and grandiose in areas of my life, but it truly is an inside job. He goes into this letter and talks about his depression, and he almost, lost it, basically died, committed suicide, whatever. The other link to this is, so that was 1958, because I was trying to get my timeline straight, right? And then the other link is to this Guardian article around this book that was coming out a few years ago, where it's titled "LSD could help alcoholics stop drinking," AA founder believed, which is Bill. So he I want to say, hold on, let me just see if I see, in the 50s, before this letter, that he wrote in the grapevine, he started experimenting with physicians, with the medical community, and started a whole other situation, which is not necessarily talked about so much. Where, he worked with the medical community into seeing if it was really for his depression, and then also could be useful for alcoholics to have that spiritual experience, because part of his letter is that some people were still not necessarily connected to a higher power at that point after they'd gone through. So what I'm hearing from the letter is that he really was trying to help those sick and suffering to get better, ultimately.
Do you have the letter?
The letter, yeah, that's the link.
Emotional sobriety? I think we should read it. I know it's kind of long. Let's see. Just some parts of it, because that thing is amazing.
It's amazing. It's 2 pages. I linked it in one of the documents.
Yes, yeah, I had that, and I'll definitely put it in there.
What I was trying to do, and I didn't really, in hindsight, I probably should have highlighted those 3 areas, which I got distracted as I was doing it. But do you think it would be useful to just read it?
Well, some parts of it, like right here, where it talks about those adolescent urges that so many of us have for top approval, perfect security, and perfect romance. Urges quite appropriate at age 17 proved to be an impossible way of life when we are age 47 or 57. And that to me is like, yeah, ACA.
Yeah, without a doubt.
We are adult children.
Yep.
And that so many of the people in the rooms, that is what they're suffering from, is this trauma, the stunting from 0 to 7 that did not allow them to be who they were. And so they developed personalities to help them cope through life. And then if you're not going to be who you are and you have to have this mask on, you have to take a drink or a drug to get through this life.
Oh my God, I'm going to read this paragraph. So later down, it says, I kept asking myself, why can't the 12 steps work to release depression? By the hour I stared at the St. Francis prayer. It's better to comfort than to be comforted. Here was the formula, all right, but why didn't it work? Which is like what we've been talking, the within.
Yes, yeah, because it's better to comfort me than for me to want to be comforted by others.
Right. And so it goes on to say, suddenly I realized what the matter was. My basic flaw had always been dependence. Almost absolute dependence on people or circumstances to supply me with prestige, security, and the like. Failing to get these things according to my perfectionist dreams and specifications, I had fought for them. And when defeat came, so did my depression. So it's this outside job still, right? Where it's not finding, like you said, like we talk about, the loving child inside,
Well, and it's like so much just preach. Like I just read this and I just think, preach, son. Preach, Bill. Because, and also he wrote this after he got the medical therapy, and it's what changed. He was suffering from debilitating depression.
Debilitating, yeah.
And everybody's, praises this letter, and especially when you have long-term sobriety, you see it and you go, oh my God, he sees me, hears me, understands what I'm still going through. And he was advocating, like, we might need some, let's be quick to see where doctors are right. And everybody was like, shut the fuck up, Bill.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is the Guardian article, which we'll also link to, goes into, how the AAs adamantly were opposed to this type of experimenting with this mind-altering substance, which we've discussed in other episodes. Like, it's non-addictive. It's through the medical community. It's not like dudes trying to get high or run away, or he's literally trying to delve deeper in how can these therapeutic interventions be useful in creating a whole human where I think about Bill and Abby, right? And I think about that section in Bill's story where he says he was inwardly reorganized. His roots grasp new soil is what it says, right? And when I think about emotional sobriety and just the little snippets that we've read thus far, it's an inside job, right? And like, how does that happen, after being sober a long time? I think it's definitely worth sharing experience on.
Well, I love what you just read about the reorganization inside. I think about the 0 to 7 loop. The loop that it's almost like your foundation is built on sand or cement, right? And so like as a child, it gets cemented in, and I get on a loop, not that, my parents are having a hard time and they're arguing, but I'm bad and I need to work harder. And that loop gets in there. So you're enacting it, even if you're sober, which is great. You're not running around drinking and driving. This is amazing. You're getting to help other people. But at the same time, you're still enacting this loop over and over. And that's what it seemed like. He was like, how come I'm doing all this and I'm still having these childish reactions?
Yeah. It's ultimately, for me, it's that it's what it's that connection inside, right? It's like it's what you've shared before is like behind the belly button or at my fingertips, and it's still that outward seeking, sex, security, society, which are all our basic instincts, but still doing that as the solution, because for me, there's great feelings behind all of those things,
Yeah. Well, and he says right here, for my dependency meant a demand for the possession and control of the people and the conditions surrounding me. And that's what I talk about even in my first 4 years of sobriety, where I was expecting that I'm sober now and there's going to be a rose petal path for me to walk down through this life. And that if anyone disrupts it, off with their head. And that's what I thought how peace was going to be had in my life moving forward, was that everyone would just behave because I'm sober now. And I'm trying to do the right thing and I'm helping others. And how dare you have an issue with me? Like, childish.
Yeah, it goes on to say the really stabilizing thing for him was having and offering love to that strange drunk on his doorstep. That was Francis at work, powerful and practical, minus dependency and minus demand. In the first 6 months of my own sobriety, I worked hard with many alcoholics. Not one responded. Yet this work kept me sober. It wasn't a question of those alcoholics giving me anything. My stability came out of trying to give, not out of demanding that I receive. God, it's beautiful, this writing, actually.
It is. It's so beautiful. And I love this last paragraph. Of course, I haven't offered you a really new idea, only a gimmick that has started to unhook several of my own hexes at depth. Nowadays, my brain no longer races compulsively in either elation, grandiosity, or depression. I have been given a quiet place in bright sunshine. I'm going to cry because that is just what we were talking about, where it's like, I don't need to celebrate the high highs or the low lows. You know, I don't need to be taken down by the low lows or taken too high by the high highs.
Yeah. I've been given a quiet place in bright sunshine. For me, it's like, it's peace of mind, which is what our literature says over and over and over throughout it, it gives me peace of mind. Yeah. So powerful.
It gives me, and I'm going to paraphrase because I'm definitely doing this one as a topic, the plaque on Dr. Bob's desk.
Yes.
It says, humility is a place, again, paraphrasing, that I can go and be at peace within myself, with my creator, no matter what's chaos is going on around me, whether I'm to be praised or vexed. That I have a place within me that I can have a still, quiet peace. And that is freedom. It is free. That is the freedom that we're all looking for. This freedom of like a place within myself that is safety. And that's what I didn't have. And I realized that everything that I'm going through this week has pointed out to me, I'm looking for an anchor within me. I'm looking for safety within me that I'm trying so hard to get outside of me. I want somebody else to tell me there's safety. It's going to be okay. We're going to get through it. But it will never, they don't have it.
I wish you could see me right now because I'm just like a bobblehead. I'm just like, like literally bobblehead. And yes, we can't just talk about Bill. We have to talk about Bob. And we should do a whole separate episode on that beautiful thing, which you always bring me back to, that plaque on his desk. And it also says, like, I remember it says like where I can shut the door, right? And be at peace. Like I can close everything else out. And it's not dependent on anything. It's not contingent on someone smiling or liking or whatever those things are, which is so beautiful,
It's so beautiful. And the reason I feel like it chokes everyone up is it's a fundamental truth. I could be anywhere in the world and talk about that, and they would be like, wow, she's brilliant, because it's just a fundamental truth that somewhere inside of us, we all respond to. We all know that's a truth. We all have this like love inside of us that, you know, alcoholics are trying to get it outside in.
Which, yes, right, that instinctual drive and that thing as a child, that's what we do, right? Like the parents are the higher powers. They provide us, you know, food, shelter, and take care of my shit, literally. And, you know, then that continuation of being the adult child doesn't work. You know, looking for mommy or daddy or both in people outside myself, you know, that's where the whole, for me, the loving parent comes through. Oh, so good. Yeah, what I like is how you related it back to what was going down for you this week, you know, where it was like all inwardly rooted. And what's coming up for me right now is that the shift from inward to outward is, you know, outward's not looking like I think it should look, you know. On the career front and work front, I think I mentioned this before, I'm looking for a job and it doesn't look like there's anything on the horizon, you know. And, you know, the runway is getting smaller. And so there's a clenching and a tightening and oh God, brace for impact, you know? And how do I notice those, right? And it's like the train, I'm not there yet. Help me replace this thought with something else, you know? What are the feelings? Can I, you know, it's like your pause. Another episode, we talked about the pause, the thank you, and the within me, you know, and honoring what's there. Versus like in the past, I've just shut it out with action and service, you know? So for me, it's that subtle balance of like, okay, have a feeling. Yes, these are normal thoughts, you know, like they're thoughts that are there and I could feel what's there and I could still unsubscribe from that narrative because it's not 100% true, you know, and continue to take the next indicated action, you know, from a loving place, not this cracking the whip, like, let's fucking go, which is where I've been, you know, like, it's a program of action, like, do it, you know, like, no, I'm not like a person from whatever the cheerleading squad with like the head tilt and the pigtails and the like perfect claps, you know, that like doing the floor routine, like that's me, you know. Like,
the 80s aerobics instructor.
Yes, stick the landing, you know, like that type of, yeah, no.
That is hilarious. And I can totally relate because I'm, my back is up against the wall too. And, you know, there's like whatever it is. And also, this is the first time I'm experiencing like, it's okay that you're scared, baby girl. Like, this is scary. Like, I would be, you know, you are having a natural reaction to your environment. It is a scary environment. And, you know, is there any action we can do at the moment besides like just comfort ourselves? And it's like, no, there's not, you know, and not like in a beat yourself up kind of way or run out there, but just like, is there anything in my immediate future I can do to get peace that's not on the outside world? And if there's not, it's like, okay, well, have some soup. Take a nap.
Sponsor. Call you sponsor. Call you sponsor. Call you sponsor. Call you.
Bitch, call your sponsor.
Call your sponsor. Call your.
Part 2 on Monday. Send us an email with comments, questions, or concerns. bcysponsor@gmail.com.
Don't forget to rate 5 stars.